I would now like to invite Dr. Debabrata Padhy. He is the head of department of the orthopedic department in Apollo Hospitals. Now, we are talking about rural and urban healthcare, and there is a huge disparity that exists between rural and urban healthcare. Now, India is spending about 68% of its healthcare resources which cater to the urban India, which only comprises 30% of the population. So while a large majority of our population is in rural India, healthcare resources are not geared towards it. We request Dr. Padhy to please speak upon this disparity and how it can be bridged. Please put your hands together for Dr. Padhy.
Good morning to you all. I am Dr. Debabrata Padhy, Senior Consultant in Apollo Hospital, Bhubaneswar in Orthopedics and Joint Replacement Department. At the outset, I thank the Prime Time Group to have allowed me to speak on this burning issue when so many learned persons have spoken about rural and urban area health resources. So I have been assigned to say something on comparison between resources available in rural and urban areas. As we know, there is a difference between, everyone knows, a common man also knows that there is a difference between the resources available in an urban setup, the health resources available in an urban setup and in a rural setup. It's not like a more developed country where whenever you go to the periphery in a developed country also, the amount of and quality of treatment which is given is equivalent to a developed city or a metro per se. But in India, our population, almost 70% of the population as per the last census stay in the rural setup, and 30% of them stay in the urban setup. But when we see the resources available in our country, it is 80% of the resources in the healthcare department is almost in the urban areas only, and only 20% which nurture to the 70% of the population is available in the rural areas. This is a real challenge which is there for the long time, and it has not been solved, because even if government has tried to do a lot of things for this. To know about what are the resources which are the part of the health achiever to achieve good health. So the first is the manpower. Manpower includes doctors, paramedics like pharmacists, nurses, then other staff members which are part of the rural health setup in our country. Usually the paramedics and the nurses which we have usually see are usually from the local population. The persons who are from the nearby villages, they have become pharmacists and they have become a part of the health institute. But usually the doctors are not from the local background. So that's why it becomes difficult to get a doctor in the rural setup because of the facilities available. It's not only the health facility, but as we know that a family of a doctor has a family, he himself has to run the family and the kids, give them good education, good entertainment and good life. So that for that reason, they always tend to be afraid of going to the rural background. Because when you stay with a family in a rural background, the amount of things which are lost for your kids, which they can get in the urban areas, is very high. So this is the major concern, apart from the recent concerns about the violence against doctors, which has led to a fear factor in doctors to be alone in a rural distant healthcare setup and treat patients, very serious patients, and for that reason it's a very high referral rate is there. Infrastructure wise, if you see the rural rural background, rural hospitals, there are minimal facilities for emergency treatment, but even then that is not in a proper lineup. This is due to lack of incentive or lack of own effort from the staff and the administrators at that level. So there should be an effort from everyone involved in the process to have a good rapport with the different local people and have a good setup so that any emergency treatment can be done at the local level. Then instruments also, whenever the doctors are there, then the instruments which are part of the resources also will be there, and they should have their effort to have good instruments to tackle emergency situations. Then when we speak of urban areas, these resources, when we speak of in urban areas, it's not that it's always all the urban people are exposed to good health care. As per the last census, it's almost 50% of a good B-tier or A-tier city. 50% of them live in slum areas, which are poor, healthy condition, almost at par with rural areas or maybe worse than rural areas. So these population, that is slum dwellers in the urban areas, they totally rely on the government hospitals. So if the government hospitals are not properly managed and there is no effort to increase the infrastructure, the instruments and the core group of the staff in the government area, then there is difficult to manage them, give a good healthy surrounding to these slum dwellers especially. So most of the better health care is being taken by the middle class or the upper middle class people of the society who get into the private hospitals and who have a paying capacity. And nowadays, as insurance is coming on, more and more persons are getting insured to have a better health care, and the government is presently having different programs to increase the involvement of insurance sector in different private hospitals to give better health care to all the population, even if rural or slum dwellers. Other health resources which we can think of is having good living conditions in the slum dwellers and in rural areas, then having good waste disposal, like the Swachh Bharat Mission, which has come up for the last few years, has had drastic improvement in the waste disposal manner, food hygiene, then scope for good healthy diet to all is because malnutrition is a very good, very important factor which is a health indicator of the rural India. So as far as my department, orthopedics and joint replacement is concerned, I deal with arthritis patients. And as our country is developing, we are getting more and more of these arthritic patients coming up for treatment. And if it is osteoarthritis, then they have a longer life and they come up for treatment initially, even if in the rural areas. But nowadays, because of different DMRDs for the rheumatoid arthritis patients, people are living for a longer life and they are having a good life after joint replacement surgery, and they are coming up for treatment at the local areas. So I would like that all the local areas, like the rural areas, district centers, should have good facility for treatment and screening of these arthritic patients so that they get a better management at a proper time in a proper place. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
In the category of the best joint replacement surgeon in Odisha, the award goes to Dr. Debabrata Padhy. Please put your hands together for the winner in this category of the best joint replacement surgeon in Odisha. And we have Dr. Debabrata Padhy with us. So please put your hands together for the winners.